Hello and welcome. I'm KayTea&Biscuits, and I am doing a new segment called Hearsay. I hope you can see the logo with where my face is. I think you can. So this is a what happens if I okay, there we go. That probably looks a little better. Hearsay. Woo! Alright, this is my first time ever doing this. But I've been inspired by people like Grace Randolph behind the trailer, people like Dylan is in Trouble, and other people to like talk about, and Jeremy Johns, I believe, as well, and Black Nerd Comedy to like start talking about superhero stuff because it's fun. I geek out about it. You guys probably like geeking out about it, so I'd like to just talk about it with you. And do you like my logo? I made it. Thanks to Canva, not sponsored, but it's really easy to make logos or banners or whatever's with them. I've made my Twitch panels, my About Me and stuff through Canva, and I made this logo, this little teacup, and I picked a font, and I picked a background, and I made this little thing that's supposed to look like a spotlight, so I'm pretty proud of it, so I hope you like it. Anyway, can I not go to like a next slide? Oh, there we go. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and overall what I'm going to talk about in this series, is going to be Marvel and DC related stuff. So, just wanted to clarify. This isn't just going to be me geeking out about Marvel. We're going to be equal. Kind of. I have more Marvel news than I do DC news. But it's fine. I just wanted to put that out there. The first thing I wanted to talk about was Spider-Man 3. So, this was a weird campaign, and I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was strange. And I hope you guys have similar opinions, or if you don't, comment below. But I thought this was funny that, I don't know, this was such a weird tactic. If you don't know, these are all fake titles that Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob came up with. I forget Jacob's last name. He plays Ned. But they all put out these like fake Spider-Man titles because they're now doing advertising, marketing stuff for Spider-Man 3, which is coming up soon. I don't remember when it's coming out. Soon. Or is it? Isn't it like in December, actually? So it's not soon. But these were like fake titles to like get hype about it, like 24 hours before they officially released the original title. And I liked that when Tom Holland posted his photo, Zendaya and Jacob both commented like, wait, what? That's not what I heard. And I like that they played with the fact that Tom Holland spoiled the original title for the second movie, I believe, before the movie came out. And he also leaked the Avengers Endgame logo. So, you know, it's kind of like an inside joke. I thought it was weird advertising, and I was really worried. I was like, oh, God, is Phone Home, like, real? But that's not actually what it's called at all. It's called No Way Home. I don't know why I didn't think about this when doing these slides, but I'm like, wow, all the titles involve the word home. Homecoming, Far From Home, and now No Way Home. And not that these are like suitable titles for like replacing it, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like this could have been a quote unquote better title thing, in my opinion. I just think it's a little lackluster, a little too like easy. It's just like, oh, well, that's what it is. But it makes sense because this final movie in the trilogy, again, we don't know if Tom Holland will continue his contract with Sony/Marvel in the future with Spider-Man, if he'll be getting more movies coming up, like Thor is getting a fourth movie, which is the first character to break the trilogy combo that all characters have pretty much had, or all like popular titular characters have had. And so I hope he gets to be Spider-Man some more because I think he's very likable. He even said a thing on Twitter. He was trying out, I think, for Finn. Or not, it wasn't Twitter. I think it was on Instagram. He said he initially tried out for Finn in the Star Wars new trilogy. And I'm really glad he didn't get it because I think he's way more likable as Peter Parker. And I think he auditioned for Peter Parker because he bombed the Star Wars tryout audition. So I thought that was interesting. So I hope he gets to stay it. I'm excited for this movie a lot. If you guys don't know, we're going to be doing dealing with a lot of multiverse topics with this series, with this final entry in the series, because these are going to tie in segments from WandaVision, the Disney Plus show, and Doctor Strange 2, where Spider-Man is meant to cameo. And it's called No Way Home because Spider-Man, our Spider-Man, currently Tom Holland, will be interacting with other Spider-Men, aka Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Apparently, Tobey Maguire, due to, I think, wanting more money for participating in this movie, and holding out for a bigger paycheck, will have his role decreased. So I think Andrew Garfield will be our main otherworld Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire will just be roped in like somewhat. I don't know how, but I think Andrew Garfield is going to be like Tom Holland's like partner in heroing. I was gonna say partner in crime, but no, they're superheroes. And I'm hoping, it hasn't been confirmed, but I would love to see Miles Morales maybe pop up. I don't think they'll have like Spider Pig or Spider Ham, I think he's called. Or maybe they'll have Penny Parker, because, you know, Sony made the Into the Spider-Verse movie. So maybe they would drop hints of that there. Who knows? I think that'd be kind of fun. And, yeah, but I also wanted to go over, aside from like with the plot of the movie, I wanted to go over what was on this board in particular, because there's lots of little, just small little tidbits and like little fun things that maybe you didn't get when they finally released a like trailer, or not trailer, it was more like a teaser, where Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob all come together to be like, man, they got us with not telling us the real title. What is it going to be? I thought my title was pretty good. And as they walk off, it pans over to this whiteboard with all this little fun stuff. I actually had to like take a screenshot of the trailer so I could like get this freeze frame, because I couldn't find a still frame on its own. But first I wanted to point out is the arc reactor, and possibly like the upcoming, like the latest version of the arc reactor. This is obviously the older version that we know that's associated with Iron Man. Part of me is a little concerned, but part of me is a little hopeful with this like little tease, because number one, in Spider-Man Far From Home, there's a big focus on Peter Parker being really sad and lost without Tony in his life, because he became his mentor and he inspired him to like be in the Avengers and stuff. And they're, you know, they're both science geeks. It's really sweet. And I liked the relationship, but I hope this isn't a way for the Iron Spider to like make a permanent stay in the MCU. I hope it's more of just a nod to maybe once the multiverse is opened, not only will we get different Spider-Men and women, maybe we'll get a new Iron Man out of it. That might be more closely addressed in the Doctor Strange sequel, but it could be sprinkled in here, because I think the idea, but I think also I'm hoping that with this movie, Tom Holland / Peter Parker will not need to have Iron Man as his guide anymore. He should be able to find courage and like stability in his own like characteristics and the way that he's been a superhero to sort of help him guide him forward. Because again, he's not supposed to be our new Iron Man, or at least I don't think he should be. He's young. I like it when he's just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So that's what I'm getting from this. This could either be references to the Iron Spider suit that we see in the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War movies, or something else, or we're getting a new Tony Stark or AI Tony Stark, because there's that Ironheart show that's in the works, which features, I think her name is Riri, not like Rihanna. I think it's Riri Williams, I think is her name. And she is a female Iron Man, well, Ironheart. And in the comics, she associates with an AI of Tony Stark. So maybe they're going to sprinkle that in for the Disney Plus show that they do have in the works about Ironheart. So I think that'd be fun. And then let's focus on the reds, and then we'll talk about the blues. I think, even though these are obviously related to like chemistry and their formulas and whatever, and how like things are like broken down, in science. Again, I didn't do that well in science, so excuse me for not having all the right terminology. But I think because they're hexagonal in shape, it might be a reference to like Wanda a little bit, because she is supposed to be the one that breaks the multiverse, because that is her plot line in the comics. They're doing it's a little different according to what we've recently seen in the show, and today being, what is today? The 1st. Happy March. It's the 1st of March. Totally forgot. The last episode of WandaVision will air this coming Friday. I think that's March 5th. Yes. Yeah, it's March 5th. I can count. And obviously it's going to be sciencey related, because they're going to try and make it about science and less about like the magic and multiverse. And, you know, these different multiverses are related to, is like science based, you know, parallel worlds is based in science, not only just like magic. But I think it's summoned by Wanda in the comics, or at least that's when she breaks the world and makes it her own. So that could like open up gates to different realities and parallel worlds, and that's how we'll get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Or it could just be science. But a part of me is, because I've been watching WandaVision, sees the hexagons and sees how Wanda made the hex and made Westview and based it off of, you know, old sitcoms and stuff. So I thought that was kind of fun. Maybe it's a reach. Maybe it's just science for the sake of science, but I don't know. It's a lot of hexagons, and I know that's like, the hexagon shape is like, you see that in nature, like you see it in honeycombs and stuff, and it's in like chemical breakdowns. But I don't know. There's a part of me that's hopeful that it's a reference to Wanda. And then with the 2 blue circles, these two seem more like references to the multiverse and how they're going to explain parallel worlds, because this looks like, I don't know how to explain it myself, because I don't know anything really about the breakdown of parallel worlds. But this looks like, all right, there's the center of an Earth, and this is connected to this, and this, and this, and it branches off. And that just looks like different worlds. That could be just more science. I'm not sure. But I think this one, too, I feel like they've talked about in movies, not just Marvel-based, but in other series and movies themselves that have talked about like different multiverses, like they vibrate on different frequencies, or they're like folded in on each other in like different worlds, and sometimes they like interact in small tidbits. So I think that'd be kind of fun to experiment with. Oh, I'm just seeing this now, but there's like a little thing of like, not DNA, but it kind of looks like synapses or like a nucleus type thing. So I think that also could just be related to science. That didn't really pop out at me before, even though it was like kind of in the center. But maybe that could be like spider DNA, relating to like the different spiders. That'd be kind of fun. And then next I wanted to talk about the different possible names for the movie, which I thought was fun. I hope that the person, I believe it was someone on Tumblr or on Reddit, who made a poster when quarantine officially started that said, SpiderMan, work from home. So I hope that that person who originally created this isn't mad that it's being referenced. It doesn't say that it's going to be copyrighted, because there's right down here, no place like home, and it says trademarked, because even though officially The Wizard of Oz is now in public domain, you know, because it's a Wizard of Oz reference, because it's when Dorothy clicks her heels together and says there's no place like home, maybe they wouldn't be able to call it that. And obviously Disney doesn't own it, so, you know, why reference it if it's not owned by Disney? And obviously there's Home Sweet Home. That's a little cheesy, so I'm glad they didn't do it. And I like that there's a little quote that says gross next to it. Welcome Home, obviously you can't do also copyright issues with Home Alone, because that's already a series. Far From Home. Come on, we did this already. I forget what that was. Web jamming, I think that was called. I think I can still move this. A web camming. Keep it PG. I like that, because I guess, you know, camming, like cam girls, is a thing. But, you know, I thought that was kind of funny. And then Stay at Home. I'm glad they didn't go with that. And Homesick. I kind of like this. Even though it's sort of, they made their own like little coronavirus Spider-Man logo. I think it still would have been kind of sweet. It's like, you know what? I hope that would have taught him Like, that idea could have been interesting to be like, the other guys want to go home, but then I'm also homesick because, oh my god, Peter Parker's Spider-Man got outed. So, you know, maybe he can't go home and he's separated. So once he's able to somehow clear his name so that no one thinks anymore that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, he can finally return home and things can go back to their relative normalcy. So I kind of liked this title. But this is the official new title. What do you guys think? I think it's kind of fun. I think the way they did this board was a little interesting. And I kind of wish we got a little more. I believe I'm like 80% positive that we are supposed to get this movie in December of 2021. So we still have some time until we get an official trailer. But I think I would have handled this a little differently. Again, I don't really like that they did this like weird 24-hour fake title Instagram post by the stars. I guess it created buzz because it was in the talks of like, I think it wasn't like, it was trending on Twitter for a good amount of time and like people talked about it in the trades, but I thought it was a little strange. So yeah, let's move on to the next thing. Big Hero 6 for a while was rumored to be coming to the MCU. It was officially confirmed by Variety that that is no longer true. But this has been getting people to talk more about what if Big Hero 6 got a live action adaptation or even sprinkled into the MCU, because it is comic book based. Disney does own it, and it would kind of fit in with the MCU. It would be weird to take a hero group and not make it a part of the MCU, which is live action. Though if they ever did a live action Incredibles, would they incorporate it into the MCU? I don't think so. But I think despite it not being true that Big Hero 6 is going to be in the MCU, I still really enjoyed the film. I know it wasn't super big in America. I know Asia super loved it. And I know it definitely has its fan base in America. Like, I was a big fan of this movie. I loved this movie. I cried when I first saw it. I didn't watch the animated series, but I heard that was a lot of fun. I'll have to check it out now, because if they do end up coming out with a live action Big Hero 6, they'll probably take some storylines from the animated series. I'll have to check it out. But I think this would be fun to have like action. I know Baymax in his design is like very fluffy and cute. I don't know if that would necessarily translate well into live action. I hope it would, because again, they do really try to ground this team, this superhero team, in reality by making it very science-based, because they go to San Francisco IT University. I think it's SFIT. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to have this live action. It has a great diverse cast. Like, this is the only white guy. Honey Lemon is typecasted here as Hispanic, though originally in the comics, I believe she is white. But I like that Gogo and Hiro, and you could like reference Tadashi too. They're Asian, and we have Wasabi, who's African American. So I think this would be a great team to bring into live action. And I think the reason why this might have been rumored or maybe like speculated is because I believe Kevin Feige is working on a Young Avengers live action adaptation, because we're getting introduced to Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Ironheart, and etc. And we got Billy and Tommy on WandaVision. Even though they're younger, they can later be aged up due to maybe Wanda manipulating them, or the fact that they can themselves manipulate their age when they wanted to. But I don't know if they'll be able to manipulate their age once they get like outside the Hex, which is where they were born. But they could later be introduced into the series, so I think that'd be fun. And because we're getting a She-Hulk show, Hulkling might show up. I don't know entirely Hulkling's backstory. I don't know if he's like the son of anyone. But Hulkling is a big character in the Young Avengers series because he and I believe Billy's relationship is iconic. They're a very big LGBTQ couple in the Young Avengers. And they even, I think, recently just got married in the comics. So it'd be really cool to see such a young, diverse cast in the MCU. And I think they also sort of fit the bill in that criteria because they're also very diverse. They're around the same age as the Young Avengers, and they do heroing. So I think it was an interesting idea, And I hope that even though this got sort of negative connotations involved with it, because people were like, who cares? I just want MCU stuff. We don't even have the X-Men or the Fantastic Four or mutants yet in the MCU. How do you expect me to already wait for Big Hero 6 to come to the MCU when it doesn't really make sense to? So I get it. It probably wasn't a good idea, but I hope that maybe in the future Disney will think about making them live action. Maybe if it just starts out as a Disney Plus TV show, I think that'd be kind of fun. Anyway, next, we haven't had an official trailer for Shang-Chi yet, which I think is interesting because Shang-Chi, I think, is supposed to come out in like June of this year, and it's March. So we have April, May, and June. That's 3 months, and we haven't gotten a trailer. But already they're planning the toys for the franchise, and his outfit got leaked. So I'm hoping eventually, like in this coming month, we'll have a trailer for Shang-Chi. I only know about him because of the movie getting announced. I didn't really know him as a character in the comics. He seems very interesting, and I think he'd be great representation for the MCU to have a lead Asian actor. And I'm excited because it's very Mortal Kombat, and it's just gonna, I think it would be a lot of fun for the MCU to take this turn. And he does have like iconic team like companions. Like if you can see in this logo, there's Captain Marvel and there's Spider Woman, and I think that's Nova, and I think that's supposed to be Elektra down there. So he interacts with some pretty big characters in the MCU. So I'm excited for him to get introduced into the series. I'm excited for it because there's going to be dragons in Shang-Chi. I'm excited about that. I don't really know anything about the 10 rings. I think they're like the new Infinity Stones. They're valuable and they grant power. And this is his original outfit in the comics, and this is what you can see of his outfit in the movie. I think the chest design's interesting. I'm a little upset they didn't go with this because this is just so simple, and I guess that can be to its detriment as well. But I think it's really cool how simple and like how easily someone can cosplay him. So it feels weird that they're getting like this really intricate like cross design on his chest. You can't really see the designs of the other characters, but it seems like this person in white and black, who I don't know. I should have researched that probably. Can't really read their name. Looks like Zolly Lang or something. Sorry, I can't read it. But they have similar outfits, so maybe it's part of like the place they study, and it's like part of their uniform. I'm not sure. But I'm excited for this. And again, I hope they drop a trailer soon. I just thought it was interesting that thanks to Legos, his outfit got leaked. I really hope this movie does well, because again, it'll be really good for Asian representation. It'll expand more of the MCU, bring in some legitimate threats and like more mystical aspects, because we're sort of getting the mystical from Doctor Strange, but this will be a more interesting, or not a more interesting take, but this will be the Asian Eastern perspective on magic in the MCU, because we see a little bit of like the, what do you call it? The Doctor Strange like temple, like his place in New York, and then there's one in China, and I think there's one in the UK. And we didn't really get to see much of the, like, I'm going to call it the Magic Embassy because I can't think of the name. The Magic Embassy in China. Even though we have a big fight choreography there, we don't really get to see it much. So I'm glad we're exploring more of Asian MCU. I wonder if Fong will maybe cameo because, you know, they're using mystical items, and a lot of mystical items are used by wizards, warlocks, magicians in the MCU. So who knows? So I think this will be interesting. I'm excited for this project, and I hope to see more of it soon. And now we're moving on to DC stuff. Yes, we are going to talk about DC stuff. Sorry I rambled a long while about MCU, but here we go. Blue Beetle is getting a movie. I don't think it's been confirmed yet whether it's going to be exclusively HBO Max, like the Snyder Cut of the Justice League, or if it's going to be theatrically released, or if it's going to do both. But Blue Beetle has been assigned a director. And he has previously directed this thing called, I have it in my notes. I forgot to write down his name, so I am the worst. But this guy is cool. And he previously directed, I think it was Charm City Kings. Where'd it go? Is it on the other page? God damn it. I am the worst. I took notes. For all of you who are curious what I'm looking at. I didn't write down his name. But he's cool. And he is a person of color. So it's appropriate that he is directing this Blue Beetle movie, because if you can't tell under the mask, he's Latino, and this is how he looks like in the Young Justice series. This is Jaime Reyes. This is this version of Blue Beetle. There's another Blue Beetle, which is here, and he's Ted Kord. But this one will be focused around the young teen Jaime Reyes, who I've mentioned has been in the Young Justice series. He also appears in the Teen Titans. I think it's interesting that they're doing a movie about Blue Beetle. My hypothesis, or my theory, is that they're doing a Blue Beetle movie because they can no longer have Cyborg or Ray Fisher as Cyborg in the movies because of their falling out. And I still feel bad about the treatment that Ray Fisher as Cyborg was given while working with Warner Brothers. But I think Ray Fisher may have overstepped his anger, and yes, he has a right to be angry. But I think John Boyega, who played Finn, who was also not terribly well treated at Disney, is being rewarded for not talking too much, because I believe he is getting his own Disney Plus show, or will be starring in a Disney Plus show. If it's not called like Finn, it's called something, and he will be on it. I think it's supposed to be Finn and Poe. I have to double check on that, but they've confirmed that they're not going to recast Cyborg or Ray Fisher Cyborg. They might, if they go into, different multiverses, as they will as well in the DC. Not only in Marvel, they're also going to tackle a little bit in the DC universe. Maybe we'll get a new Cyborg through that, but right now, just so we have a person of color on the team, or possibly the person to introduce the Titans into the live action universe, aside from just the TV show on HBO Max, which I'm not really a big fan of. I think it's getting a season 3. I stopped watching after season 1 because I just kind of stopped caring. I think I watched a little bit of season 2, and I didn't really like the portrayal of Jason Todd, so I sort of just stopped watching it. Also, it just didn't look that good. So maybe this will be a way for them to correct what they've done with the Titan show, because that has had very mixed reviews. So maybe this Jaime Reyes will not fit in with being with the Justice League, but maybe he and Shazam will be buddy-buddy because they'll be closer in age. Because even though Shazam is, in his hero form, he looks like a man. He's actually a adolescent. So, they're closer in age, so maybe they can team up together. I believe they do so in the comics. But I'm excited about this, and I'm going to go in a little bit as to what this is about. Jaime Reyes is from El Paso, Texas. He's also been associated with the Outsiders, I have written down. And he became the Blue Beetle by accident. So you see, previously, the original person who had the alias of Blue Beetle was this man called Ted Kord, and he has his own company called Kord Industries, where he works on technological advances and stuff, and he used his own technology to become the Blue Beetle and work with Booster Gold, another superhero, to fight crime. But then one day, while in El Paso, Texas, at one of Kord Industries' facilities, and Jaime Reyes is passing by, it explodes, and out comes this little blue scarab. And Jaime, confused and dazed from the explosion, picks it up and is like, what's this? And it attaches itself to Jaime Reyes. It almost staples itself onto Jaime's back. And he transforms into a Blue Beetle, superhero, which is this design. And it's very different from this Ted Kord, because this Blue Beetle, unbeknownst to Ted Kord or Jaime Reyes at the time, is an alien robot, and his name is Kajida, or at least that's his given name, assigned to him by his creators, the Reach, who are down here. But this one is defective because it got broken during the crash to Earth. So Jaime is able to use it to fight crime for good, while the Reach's initial intention for the Blue Scarab was to take over planets covertly. So the Reach are bad guys, and they also have their own different beetles that will antagonize Jaime Reyes and Earth, like this man over here, who's a black beetle. And there's also a green beetle. I don't know how canonically accurate he is to the comics, but in the Young Justice series, there is a green beetle, and he is a Martian. So that could be an interesting way to introduce Martians into the DC universe, so that we can get Martian Manhunter, because J'onn J'onzz, who's the Martian Manhunter, is one of my favorite characters in the world. So that'd be kind of neat. And basically, the Reach, they pose themselves as being very benevolent and easygoing by extending their hand to help, aka extending their reach, which is where they got their name from, or where they adapted their name from, to help technologically advanced civilizations. And then they have these beetles go undercover to infiltrate and to like subvert the civilization that they're trying to conquer's expectations, and then they're able to take over much more easily. So I think this movie will have a lot of fun playing with that aspect, with having these aliens try to evade Earth by this beetle, and having it go wrong, and having this, instead of being an infiltration anti-hero, to being a superhero. I think that'll be a lot of fun plot-wise. And I think there's a lot of lore to go on here about these characters. Both of them, both Ted and Jaime, to create a very interesting movie. Will Ted Kord be featured in this movie? Possibly not. He might have already died, because that is canonically what happened. Jaime Reyes never, I don't believe, gets to meet Ted Kord and just takes up the blue mantle and has to like live up to those expectations. And I believe gets mentored by Booster Gold, who was Ted Kord's really good friend, who sometimes people ship him with. And I think it'll be fun to introduce, again, more young heroes, because you know how Kevin Feige is working on getting the Young Avengers out there into this cinema experience. I think they'll try to do that with Titans or the Young Justice crew themselves, because Teen Titans and Young Justice and the Outsiders are very popular. I don't know about the Outsiders Young Justice take, but I know the Outsiders comics are very popular. So I think this will be an interesting and good stepping stone, though an unexpected stepping stone for the new direction for Warner Brothers to go in with their superhero titles. And who knows if this will be featured on another Earth, because we have a lot to talk about in terms of the Flash movie. It is no longer going to be called Flashpoint, because it's not going to really be a story about the Flashpoint comic. So in order to separate themselves slightly from that and like subverting their audience's expectations so they're not disappointed when they don't see Flashpoint, they're just calling it Flash 2022. And because it's coming out in 2022. So that's going to be really interesting, this movie, because again, it's going to feature multiverse elements, but it's not going to be Flashpoint. And Flashpoint is when Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller here, goes so fast in time that he is able to open up portals to parallel worlds, because he goes so fast, because the Speed Force is very good at doing that. This happens quite a lot. He can not only travel to the past and to the future, he can go to different Earths, and it creates for messy stuff, but also fun stuff. And I think that's how they're going to rope in this newly casted Supergirl, and her name is Sasha Calle, I believe. It's Calle, and the double L's in Spanish is a Y, so I believe it's Calle. And she's going to be, I think, our first ever Supergirl of color. As far as I know, Supergirl has always been blonde-haired, blue eyes, Kara Zor-El, because she's always been Superman's cousin, aka another white person. So I'm excited to see a Supergirl of color. And people are concerned because she is from Young and the Reckless, which is a soap opera show. But I think this will be a fun opportunity for a dramatic role, but also a fun role because, you know, Young and the Reckless is very dramatic and it doesn't have a lot of fun elements. But Supergirl is very, you know, is pretty bubbly. She has her own traumas because she remembers what happened to Krypton, unlike Superman, who was a baby at the time. And yes, it's complicated because Kara is technically older than Superman, despite appearing younger, because I believe canonically Supergirl also escaped Krypton before it exploded, but she got stuck in a wormhole, so she did not age the same as Kal-El, aka Superman. And Kal-El ended up on Earth earlier and began aging normally, while Supergirl ended up on Earth later and only started aging. So by the time Kara got there, Superman was already Superman, like mid-30s or whatever. But I'm excited about this choice because, related to this somewhat, they are rebooting Superman for the DC universe. Cavill is out, which has people kind of sad, but people kind of happy because it's rumored that this is going to be about a black Superman, which I think is exciting because I think an important way for the DCEU to differentiate themselves from the MCU would be to have a black-led team or a black male-led team, because we've had plenty of white faces in the MCU. We've had Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and etc. So it will be exciting if we get a black Superman. Though I don't believe there has been a black Superman in the comics. Feel free to correct me. I am not a Superman expert. I've always been more interested in Batman. That's just my personal preference. But they've done race bending with characters before. Wally West, aka Kid Flash, who later becomes Flash, was initially white, but they have now race bended him in the comics to be black. Catwoman has been on and off race bended between white, Hispanic, and black. And I believe they've talked about race bending Poison Ivy when she gets to the DCEU. And in the Titans show on HBO Max, Starfire is black. So they've done race bending before. So I don't think this is a big surprise. But it's an interesting one because Supergirl is so iconic with her blonde hair and blue eyes. And she has brown hair and brown eyes. But I think she can still... I mean, it doesn't really matter how you look. It's all about your acting skills and how likable you are and the way you carry the mantle of Supergirl that I think will be the biggest test for Sasha. And I believe when I saw the director of the Flash movie announcing that she got cast as Supergirl, she seemed genuinely excited and happy about it. So I hope she brings that positivity to the role because it's very important that we have a positive woman in this universe because Wonder Woman, I called her Wanda Woman. Wonder Woman has so much trauma and angst going on that it'd be nice that despite Supergirl and her trauma, that she is able to be bubbly to a degree. And I hope that she'll be able to stay in the DCEU and not just be stuck in her own Earth. Because she, like I said, will be tied into the multiverse aspect of the Flash movie. Because, as you probably already know, Michael Keaton is reprising his role as Batman and will be sort of co-starring in the Flash movie, mentoring Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. While this will be possibly the last movie that Ben Affleck will ever be the Batman in. It's rumored that he will die and say goodbye to Batman in this movie, while Michael Keaton will return to our current Earth, where all the DCEU has taken place thus far, and be the new Batman. And possibly Supergirl will return with them to the current area, because I don't know what's going to happen with Superman. I don't know if he's going to die here, or if his cameos that are lined up for Shazam 2 and Black Adam will happen or not, because they're doing this reboot of Superman. But I'm hoping that even if Cavill gets to cameo still, he'll have to have a moment where he dies so we get introduced to a new Superman, or we get the new Superman brought into this current Earth, and then Henry Cavill's Superman will just like retire with Amy Adams' Lois Lane. But people have also speculated that the Black Superman movie that is being written as we speak will be either a completely new character or a race-bent Clark Kent. So obviously both Clark Kents can't really exist at the same time. So Henry Cavill will either have to die, and then we get a new Superman from another alternate Earth, or there just happens to be someone who's not Superman but has Superman-like powers while Henry Cavill's Superman retires or dies. It has to be one or the other. But I'm excited for this Flash movie. I think it's shaping up to be interesting. I hope it's going to be good. There's also rumors of the Batgirl movie that was supposed to be directed and written by Joss Whedon, but he's now, I believe, been kicked off the project, where now the Batgirl movie will feature Michael Keaton's Batman mentoring Batgirl, which I think will be interesting, but it's kind of a shame because I've been really excited to have a, new Batman series. And Ben Affleck hardly got to play Batman because he just got hated out the gate, and Robert Pattinson's not going to be on the same Earth as the rest of the canon characters are. So that's already, he's sort of going to have to be in his own universe. Is it in the same universe as Joker's 2019 movie? I'm not sure. But they have to find ways to, rope in all these other Earths together because it's very convoluted and crazy. And I think Marvel already is going to continue having the head start, even though poor DC, they've been releasing the fact that they're working on these ideas for such a long time now. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka mainly Kevin Feige, has been able to get these projects done ahead of DC, which kind of sucks because, again, the reason why Captain America Civil War exists is because Batman v Superman exists. Kevin Feige was not going to make that movie despite the Russo brothers wanting to work on it. But then hearing that people were excited about Batman v Superman, greenlit Civil War. And Civil War came out before BVS and did better than BVS. So I'm hoping that this movie will help stand against the MCU's attempt on the multiverse, because again, I had a lot of hopes. I had a lot of hopes for Wonder Woman 1984. I was really excited. It became a mess. I think there's good elements in it, but it's just overall really poorly received and bad. So we really need to get another DC win on the board because I want it. I want it too. I really liked Shazam. It didn't make enough money. I really liked Wonder Woman, the first movie. Didn't get nominated for anything. Justice League was bad. And so I hope that upcoming projects will get better. And I guess Man of Steel 2 is in the garbage because I don't think that's happening. So that kind of sucks. Now I don't know. And I think there's nothing else to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh no! Here's some small tidbits. I'm deciding, I forgot I had this slide. Oh my God, so sorry. Gonna rope in some things together here. Upcoming on the horizon, I believe this is already, oh no, is it coming out? Oh yes, it's already out. I need to start watching this. Superman and Lois show is starting up and I hope is good. Grace Randolph reviewed it and said it was fun and that I'll like it. So I'm trusting her on this. And I hope that, I'm really excited for this actor because I think he got a lot of flack for not looking the part when he was first featured on the Supergirl show. But I think he's really coming to his own, and I think he's really likable. So I can't wait. And WandaVision is ending. The last episode will be this Friday, March 5th. They have so much to wrap up on. I really need them to introduce Mephisto or Nightmare. I need them to talk about the multiverse. We still have this whole new plot line of, is Wanda Scarlet Witch actually a witch of chaos magic, or is she a mutant? It seems like they're leaning towards the witchy thing. And then we're getting Vision's new body, which is pure white, which is from the comics. I'm not really familiar with that comic, but I'm excited. And I really hope we get to see more of Monica showing off her powers. And I'm so sad that the show is ending. And then the following week, March 19th, we're getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And people are saying this is going to be a really fun show. It's going to be pretty lighthearted. Lots of action and very buddy cop. And I think Anthony Mackie is so funny. I think he'll bring a lot of joy to this role. I feel like as he's played Sam, he hasn't really had a lot of funny moments. I mean, he had that one scene in the car, I think in Civil War, where he and Bucky, Sebastian Stan's character, watched Chris Evans make out with Sharon Carter, and they were like, yeah, let's go, boy. But I hope that he gets to have more of the fun comedic role here, because I think he's so funny and charming and so just absolutely amazing in real life. And not that Sam himself isn't a great character. I think he is. I want him to be happy because I feel like he's had a lot of time just being in Cap's shadow and having to shoulder a lot of Cap's consequences. So I hope that even though here he too will now have to wrestle with the idea of having Captain America's mantle on his arm and not on his shoulders, but it is going to be a big responsibility for him. But I hope he could still bring some fun into it. Sebastian Stan, he's a little controversial at the moment, but I still think him as an actor is very likable, and I'm excited to see more of Bucky adjusting to normal life. And I'm excited to see Zemo with his mask. Sharon Carter is going to be fine, probably. I wasn't really excited for her to return, but I believe that Florence Pugh, who's supposed to be Yelena Belova in the Black Widow movie, will appear in this show as well. So it'll wrap in or tie in parts from the Black Widow movie into this TV show, which I'm excited about. But it also makes me concerned because Black Widow, I think, is still slated to come out in May, while this show is starting to come out in March. And I believe this will also be a weekly release. And I believe will be 9 episodes? I have to double check that. But I think it's supposed to be longer. It's not going to be like 20 minutes episodes like WandaVision. It's going to be less episodes, but more runtime for each episode. So that's something to look forward to. And that's about it for my hero hearsay talk today. I hope you guys found this a little interesting. Let me know what you thought. I hope you guys like the name, by the way, because I really wanted something with alliteracy. Sorry, I keep popping my pen because it's fun, and I'm distracted and nervous about doing this. But I hope you guys like this idea, talking-wise. I got inspired by Grace Randolph with her, like, breakdowns of stuff. Super Butterbun started doing Sunday Bundays, and I just wanted to talk about superhero stuff because I love the MCU. I'm really rooting for the DCEU, and I just like superhero stuff in general. So I'd love to talk about it more. I definitely need to educate myself more on the comics. And but I hope that if I do talk about this in the future, that you guys will watch. So let me know what you thought down below. If you have anything that I didn't cover in this that you think should be covered, maybe in a next video or just like as an anecdote in another solo video, let me know. If you think anything needs more attention, I can divulge in that in another video as well. So comment below what you thought, like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. I'm very appreciative. I hope this went well. I'm a little nervous and I'm like antsy and I feel like I've been rambling a lot, but I'm under an hour. So that's improvement for me. So I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye, and tune in for more.